I'm Shraddha. I will be discussing the topic on agency of ratification in Indian Contract Act. An agency of ratification occurs when someone without express authority acts on another's behalf. It is a situation in which a person or a company inaccurately claims to be an agent for another person or a company and conducts some act in that capacity, but which the principal, who is not actually a principal, later accepts and recognizes it. If the principal chooses to ratify the agent's transaction based on his behalf, an agency of ratification arises. Thus, when the principal approves an act of an agent who never had an opportunity to undertake such act, it is called as ratification. It is also called as ex post facto agency, that is, agency arising after the event. Section 197 of Indian Contract Act says that the ratification may be expressed or implied in the conduct of person on whose behalf the act are done. So what is express ratification? The ratification in which there is wording and expression is called as express ratification. For example, without A's discretion, B has purchased goods from C for the sake of A. Afterwards, A has given support to B's activity in the contract. It is called as ratification, and now A becomes the principal and B becomes the agent. In the case of Williams, A insures P's good without authority. If P ratifies A's act, the policy will be valid as if A had been authorized to insure the good. Implied ratification. From the word implied ratification, we can understand that there is no expression. Here, the mode of behavior of the party indicates a support given to the activity concerned. For example, Mr. Q has P's money with him. Without P's discretion, Q has lent some money to R. Thereafter, R pays interest directly to P and P has taken the amount of interest. It does indicate that the P has given some support to Q's activity. In the case of Bank of Baroda, the manager of the insurance company effected an assurance which he had no authority to do so, but the company accepted the money which was received under the policy. So the court held that the same act to be held as sufficient ratification. Section 196 of Indian Contract Act, which states that where the acts are done by one person on behalf of another but without his knowledge or authority, he may elect to ratify or to disown such act. If he ratifies them, the same effect will follow as if they had been performed by its authority. In the case of Cornell vs. Wilson, A has brought some product for B in which A had exceeded his authority by buying the product in higher price. B didn't accept the product from A, but B will sell some of it to C. Here, B ratified the act impliedly by selling the product to C. Thus, agency of ratification may be created in two situations, namely, when an agent exceeds his given authority, when a person who has no authority but act as if he had the authority to act on behalf of the principal. So we can understand these situations with an illustration. In the first situation, when an agent who has exceeded its authority, Rahul, the principal, appoints Ravi, agent, to buy him a house for not more than 25 lakh. Then Ravi went and contract with ABC Property on behalf of Rahul for the price of 30 lakh. In this scenario, Ravi is exceeding his authority. Here, the agency relationship between Rahul and Ravi is terminated. Thus, Rahul is not bound to contract with ABC Property. However, if Rahul accepts the contract made by Ravi, the agency of ratification comes into existence. In the second situation, when a person has no authority, will be acting as if he has authority. Here, Bari informed his friend that he wished to sell his old car for 2 lakh. However, he did not give any authority to them to sell on his behalf. His friend went and contracted with Sham, selling Bari's car on his behalf without an authority from Bari. When his friend informed Bari, he disagreed the contract made by his friend. In this situation, Bari is not bound to contract with Sham because his friend has acted without any authority. However, if Bari agreed and accepted the contract made by its friend on his behalf, he becomes an agent of ratification to Bari. Thus, Bari is bound to contract with Shyam for selling his car to him under the agency of ratification. Thus, if any of these situations happen, the principal has a choice either to accept or reject the contract. If the principal accepts the contract, then agency of ratification will come into existence. Therefore, principal is bound to contract made by such agent. However, if he did not accept it, the agency relationship does not exist and the principal is not bound to the contract. This principle is based on the section 196 of Indian Contract Act 1872, which state that where an act done by one person on behalf of another but without knowledge or authority, he may elect to ratify or to disown such act. If he ratifies them, the same effect will follow as if it had been performed by its authority. In short, whenever the agent is acting by exceeding or without any authority, the principal has a choice either to reject or accept the contract. Once the principal accepts or certifies the contract, there is agency of ratification and the principal is bound to make the agent. Condition for a valid ratification. Section 198 of Indian Contract Act says that no valid ratification can be made by a person whose knowledge of facts of case is materially defective. There are 10 valid conditions of agency of ratification. If any one of these conditions is not fulfilled, there is no agency of ratification may exist, which means the principal cannot ratify the contract. Or even though if the principal has ratified, the ratification is not valid and the principal will be not bound to the contract. The first one is the principal should be in existence at the time of contract. The person who is going to give ratification must be in existence at the time of activity. Let us consider pre-incorporation contract made by the promoters. Company comes into existence only on the date of incorporation. Therefore, company is not in existence on the date of incorporation. If the company gives ratification to the pre-incorporating contract, it is not valid ratification. In the case of Kellen vs. Baxter, a contract to buy wine was made by an agent on behalf of a new hotel company, which was not registered or formed, could not be ratified by the new hotel company because the company did not exist at that time. Moving to the next point, the agent must have purported to act for a principal. A person can ratify only that which is purported to have been done for him and cannot ratify that which is purported to have been done for somebody else. Act done by a person on his own account cannot be ratified. Only when an act is done on behalf of the ratifier, such act can be ratified. In this case, an agent was authorized by the appellant, who was a principal, to buy a wheat at a certain price. The agent exceeded his authority and brought it at higher price. However, the agent contracted in his own name. It was held that the appellant, who was principal, was not liable to Durand, the third party, because the appellant could not ratify the contract as the contract was made in the agent's name. Next point, the principal should have contractual capacity. The principal should have a contractual capacity both at the time of the contract and the time of ratification. This is because the principal can ratify an act by the agent provided he himself could do the act which he purports to ratify. Thus, when the minor was not in a position to give authority at the date when the acts were performed, he cannot subsequently ratify these acts. In Dorai Singh case, the minor obtains loan from a money lender and executes a deed. Before the repayment of debt, he becomes a major and executes another bond. Court decide that the second bond also is not valid because the person who has given ratification has no capacity to contract at the time of activity, that is at the time of getting loan. In this case of Brooke vs. Hook, it was held that the principal may not ratify a contract in which his signature has been forged by an unauthorized agent. Moving to the fourth point, the act should be capable of ratification. The act to be ratified must be lawful and not void or illegal or ultra vires in the case of company. The activity which is going to be ratified must be a lawful activity. In illustration, for the sake of A, B has murdered C. If A gives supports to B's activity, it is not a valid ratification because the act is illegal. Fifth point, principal should have full knowledge of material fact. Section 198 of Indian Contract Act states that no valid ratification can be made by a person whose knowledge of fact is materially defective. So the principal should have full knowledge of material fact. Illustration: A authorizes B, his agent, to purchase grains for him. B supplied his own grains to A at higher price. A ratified the purchase without knowing the fact that the grains belonged to B himself and he charged price higher than the market. It is held that the ratification made by A was not valid because it was made without the full knowledge of facts of case. In the case of Mars vs. Joseph, a principal had ratified a contract without the full knowledge of material fact. It was held that the principal was not bound to such contract. Moving to the sixth point, ratification cannot be partial. A contract cannot be ratified partially. This provision is contained in section 199 of the Act, which states that two parties ratifying any unauthorized act done on his behalf ratifies the whole of the transaction of which such act formed a part. We can understand by an illustration. A, without authority from B, purchased 100 sets of TV for him. Subsequently, B discovered that 80 TVs were good while 20 are defective. B accepted the good ones and rejected the defective ones. In this case, the acceptance of the part of TVs amount to ratification of whole transaction, and thus B is bound to take the delivery of all TVs purchased on his behalf, including the defective ones. Moving to the seventh point, ratification should be done within a reasonable time. Ratification becomes valid only if it is made within a reasonable time after the act to be ratified is done. In this case, the agent contracted to buy eggs without the authority. The principal tried to ratify the contract 1 week after it was made. It was held that the ratification was too late. In this case of Grover vs. Matthews, it was held that the contract of insurance policy, which had been ratified by the principal after the occurrence of the insured event, was not effective. 8th point. Ratification should not cause any damage to the third person. A ratification is not valid if it causes some damage to the third person or terminates any right or interest of a third person. We can understand it by illustration. A was holding lease from B, which was terminable on 1 month notice. C, an unauthorized agent, gave notice of termination of lease to A. In this case, this notice cannot be ratified by B, so has to be binding on A. Illustration: there is a rental agreement between A and B, according to which 3 months time was given for vacating the house. On one day, C, A's son, has asked B to vacate the house on that day itself. A has given his support to C's activity. It is not valid ratification because it leads to the breach of rental agreement and at the same time it is harmful to B. Moving to the ninth point, ratification must be communicated. There is no valid ratification of an act unless it is communicated to other party. Ratifier cannot keep his thought to himself. The fact of ratification must be communicated to all parties in connection with the activity. Last point, ratification relates back to the date of the act of an agent. Ratification relates back to the original dating or making of act or contract. It places all parties in exactly the same position as they would have occupied in the case of present authority. Though ratification takes place after the date of activity, it will be assumed that the ratification is given on the date of activity. Thus, these are the 10 conditions necessary for the valid ratification. Thank you.